we're talking about today is lesson 16, simplifying and evaluating variable expressions. To evaluate an expression that contains variables, we will substitute each variable in the expression with a given numeric value and then simplify. Nothing else on that side. Example 1 says to evaluate each expression for the given values of the variables. So for A, they want us to substitute. Instead of A, they give us, instead of A, they give us 5, and instead of P, they give us 7. So anytime that we substitute, it's very, very important to always remember that when we substitute for a variable, we always use parentheses. So I have negative, instead of A, I will put 5, bracket, negative, instead of A, I will put 5, and then instead of P, I will put 7, minus, instead of A, I will put 5, and then I'm going to close all of it up. So whenever we're doing this, once we have our substitution done, all we have to do is follow our order of operations. So parentheses, we have to start with our innermost grouping symbol, which is right here. Okay, 7 minus 5 gives us 2, and we're going to bring everything straight down the way that we see it. Once we're here, we need to simplify inside parentheses again. Remember, brackets are another type of parentheses, another type of grouping symbol. So we have negative 5 times 2, which gets us a negative 10. And then out here, this negative and 5, that just gives us a negative 5. So negative 5 times negative 10 is going to give us a positive 50. This is our final answer. And notice that wonderful tornado that we have leading us to our final answer. On example B, it's the exact same thing. I would like for you to go ahead and pause and try and do this one on your own, just to see if you make any mistakes. So go ahead and pause, and we'll go over it together in a moment. On part B, we're going to do the exact same thing, but again, we're going to substitute A as negative 8, and X will be 14. So I have parenthesis minus, instead of X, I put 14, close it up, plus, instead of A, I put negative 8. Here's a good reason to keep those parentheses, because this lets me know that I have two symbols here. If this was a negative and I just put another negative, it might just look like one big negative if I don't have very good handwriting, or I might just forget that there's two negatives and think I've made a mistake, something like that. So I'm done with that first set. Minus X, I have 14. Minus, here's what I'm talking about. We have a double negative here. We want to make sure that we notice that there are two signs there, and this parenthesis lets me see that there's two signs. So now all we have to do is follow our order of operations, which, remember, is our PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division from left to right, and addition and subtraction. Okay? So parentheses, we have two sets of parentheses that are separated from each other, so that means I can simplify within them first. So I have negative 14 plus a negative. Remember, those are opposite signs. So that gives me a negative. I have negative 14 minus 8 is going to give me a negative 22. Minus, on this side, I'm going to do the exact same thing. But this time I have 14 minus a negative gives me a positive. So that gives me just 22. This negative came from here, remember. And this was a positive 22, so I just brought down 22. Negative 22 minus 22 is going to give me a negative 44. Final answer. Evaluate each expression for the given values of the variables. Same thing is going on here. Instead of C, I'm going to substitute 3. Instead of B, I'm going to substitute negative 1. And then I have the quantity of A, which is 2, times B, which is negative 1, times C, which is 3, and that C is being squared, and that's in that parenthesis. Again, order of operations, we do parentheses. Inside these parentheses, I have exponents, so I have 3 to the second power, which gives me 9, and I'm going to bring everything else straight down. oops, I'm sorry. This is a -1, not a -3. I wrote the wrong thing, my mistake. And 3. At this point, all that's happening is all of this is being multiplied. So I'm just going to multiply from left to right. I'll go inside my parentheses first so that I'm being technically order of operations correct here. So I have 2 times -1 is a -2. And then I'm multiplying that by 9. Bring down my other stuff. So I have -2 times 9 is a -18. Bring down everything else. 3 times -1 is -3. 3. My computer must be acting up here. -3 times -18. Negative times a negative gives me a positive, and I'm just going to bring my answer over here. 3 times 18 is going to give me 54. Final answer. So if you would pause and try and do part B on your own.